Take one.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm so glad to see you. Tell me about how your mom or dad would describe you.
I'm fun. I'm very silly, sweet, caring.
I'm a really hard worker.
She's a doer, and when she sees a need, she will do it.
I'm really kind and smart.
My mom says I'm a good artist.
I'm nice. I talk a lot.
My dad and brother say I'm a good singer.
At your house, what do you hear your mom and dad saying most often?
Get off the couch. Come over and do the dishwasher.
Oh, go clean your room. Oh, hurry up, hurry up.
And you need to do your laundry. I'm not warning you again.
Be quiet,
Why?
because we're really loud. Who took this? Who ate that? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? They hug me. We say goodnight and I love you before we go to bed.
My dad says no. That's like all I hear.
Okay. And
My
what's your
mom says like, hurry up. What have you done productive today?
To unload the dishwasher, to clean the table, to wash the dishes.
My mom said that like it's not bad to be different. It's good to be unique. Slow down. Take it one day at a time.
My mommy always tells me to hurry up.
Clean your room. Do your chores.
No, we're not getting Chick-fil-A. No, you can't have a soda.
Remember to bring your lacrosse stuff to lacrosse practice.
Clean up your desk.
How did you not find that? That was right there.
Is that how it sounds? What do you think would happen if I asked your children or the children around you what you say the most? Or what would you want them to say that you say the most?
Two very different questions.
Right. Well, the truth is that words are powerful. And this has been my passion. And what we know is that words will echo in a child's life into adulthood. So what I've taught over the decades in mentoring and teaching is how powerful words are and that they can tear down or they can build up, right? And this is what we're going to talk about and explore in the next 6 sessions together. And so since we're going to be spending this time together, I want to get to know you guys a little more. So if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, and then I would love to ask, what are you looking to get out of this together, our time together?
My name is Clay. I am the husband to Jenny.
Okay.
She's my favorite.
Oh, well, I like that.
We have 5 kids.
Wow.
Yep. Common response.
Congratulations.
People say, do you know how that happens?
Yeah.
We do.
Obviously you do.
That's right. Our oldest is 11, and it goes all the way down to, he'll be 3 soon in the next couple weeks.
Wow,
so
that's a nice spread.
Nice spread. What do I hope to get out of this? I want to be a better parent.
Okay.
I enjoy parenting most of the time.
Interesting. Most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time.
It's the other percentage of the time that you're talking about.
That's right.
Okay.
And I want to be the best I can be so that I'm not so that my kids don't end up in a counselor's office someday talking about all the scars. They probably will anyway, but.
So you want to identify that percentage of the time that
That's right.
you don't feel you're the best parent.
That's right.
Right?
My name is Rachel. I've been married to Brendan for 20 years. We have 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy, 14, 11, and 8. And I'm at home with them most of the time, and I also teach at a small school. And as far as what I would want to get out of this is sometimes the kids in my family and the kids in my classroom can be overwhelming, their energy or their vision for what we're gonna do. And just knowing how to deal with that. I tend to be a little bit more easy and go with the flow.
Okay.
And I'd love to know just how to communicate better with them.
Okay. So you're even looking to take it outside your house and bring it into what you do for a living with a lot of kids, right?
There's a mass.
A lot of kids.
I'm next. Okay, so my name's April, and I am the wife of David.
Okay.
And I have 2 children. They're adults.
Okay.
So I've kind of gotten past the little kid stage, but I'm realizing and continue to realize that I'm still parenting.
Oh, interesting. That's an interesting statement.
It's very true.
Yes.
But I want to make sure that I parent properly for them,
Okay.
Just kind of, now that they're older, you kind of see things like, how did I miss that? Or is that my fault?
Right.
Is that because of what I did or did not do?
That's fascinating.
In addition to that, I'm a counselor. So
good.
I counsel a lot of young people.
Okay.
Pretty much middle school on up.
Okay.
And so just being able to engage with them
and that's an interesting age, isn't it?
Oh my gosh. I don't know why I picked that specifically in school, but
I don't either.
I felt like I didn't want the little ones, but this age is a tripping age.
Yeah. I bet you have some really great stories.
Yeah. So I really just want to learn how to just better engage with them and, communicate effectively with them.
Awesome. I love that you want to reach back too with your kids and bring it forward.
Yeah.
And then maybe something you learn there, you take into the counseling.
Yeah. And then I'll have grandkids one day too.
That is exactly right. Are your kids girls, boys?
Boys. Two boys.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. That's a good dynamic too. We're going to be talking about that. And you?
I'm Brent.
Okay.
My wife is Tracy. And we've got 4 kids, 29 down to 16. I've always enjoyed coaching my kids through sports. And then when they outgrew what I knew about it, I found I still had a need to it. So I started meeting with high school boys as well and taking them through high school, which I said I'd never deal with high school boys.
Oh, really?
But they remind me too much of what I was like in high school, all over the map. And
why do I feel there's a couple stories there?
There's some stories.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a fun journey, though. I guarantee it. Because you know what I love most about this? What I love most about this is we represent the broad spectrum of what we want to talk about. We represent parents, coaches, counselors, teachers, bosses, business people. And that is so incredibly important because what we're going to be going over in the next 6 sessions is very key information for everybody that interacts with a child. When I'm teaching or I'm speaking at an event, 100% of the time, somebody's going to come up and ask me a question about a child. 100% of the time. And they'll come up and they'll ask about their children. They'll ask about their grandchildren. They'll ask about a niece or a nephew or an adoption. There's something going on. And that's where we're going to start right now. We're going to start right there. So we want to know, do you have a child that you feel like you've tried everything? Like they're challenging and you're not sure if it's them or you, right? So I'm going to ask you this question. What would you fix about your children or the child that you're thinking of? Your eyebrows went right up. So I'm going to pick on you first.
I would fix the fact that he thinks he knows everything.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like you can't, even if he knows he's wrong, he's going to argue you down.
Really?
He really is. And almost not trying to get blood from you, but you just feel like it's so exhausting sometimes. Just having that conversation is like, why does it have to be such a debate all the time?
Interesting.
And it doesn't go away,
and
even as an adult?
He's
so he was like that, like a little guy?
Oh my gosh. Like even at 26 now. And I think I've gotten to this point now where I'm just like, okay, it's fine. And he's just like, no, don't quit. And I'm like, why do you?
He literally says, don't quit?
He literally says, why are you stopping? Like, don't. And I'm just like, I don't have the capacity. I can't. I just don't. And he's very opposite from his brother.
Okay.
So I would really want to it's okay.
Fix that, right? Who wants to be next? Young man?
Go for it.
You look like you're just ready to say something.
I do typically have an answer to questions, but what do I want to fix in my child? Well, we have a child that is that can be quite moody.
Okay.
And
what do you mean by moody?
We had a babysitter the other day that when we got home, she said, we said, well, hey, how was this particular child. And she said, I don't know, I haven't seen him. He came downstairs once, but he didn't say much.
Okay.
And so that drives us crazy because we want him to be kind and caring and courteous.
Okay.
And then I have another child that is just very strong-willed, and I would love to know that one. I don't want to fix that. I really do want to help unleash her. I feel like that is the way she is, and I don't want to crush her. I want her to really learn how to channel that in the right ways.
Yeah, channel that energy.
Yes.
Interesting. I like that. Rachel?
I think when you say that, I think about a couple of things. One, in the classroom setting, just when things are a little bit out of control and I'm not sure how to kind of deal with, like I said, the energy that's coming at me. I have a middle school class, and so it's a great age, but they all kind of have their own view of what they want class to be. Sometimes if I'm giving instruction or setting us up for what we're gonna do, they all have questions that they're from their perspective, and just being able to speak to them and give good instruction, because I know they're all coming from a different angle.
Interesting.
When you're thinking about it at home, my middle daughter is full of life and curious and loves to have fun. I have sometimes said we could take her to Disney World and then leave, and she would say, what else are we doing today that's fun? Or what are we doing today that's fun? And so I would love to know how to, I would love to go home after Disney World. And that's plenty of fun for the day.
Take a break.
Take a break. That was it. And I find sometimes when I speak to her in those times when she's looking for fun that that she just deflates. And so I don't want to hurt her with my words. I want to build her up, like you were talking about. And sometimes I'm not sure because I can't necessarily manufacture fun all the time.
Interesting. Brent?
You know, I'm thinking with one of my kids, I'd just love to say, just get on the bus. Let's go. We're ready to go. If the one I'm thinking of, you know, he can be the fly in the ointment or sort of the grit in a well-oiled machine. And sometimes I don't want to debate. I just want you to be obedient and come along. All the while, I know, you know, there's ill effects on my kids sometimes when I can just be scorched earth. Just do what I say. You know, if you want an opinion, I'll give it to you. And you know, you're talking about debate. Sometimes you just don't want the debate. You want obedience and just follow. But I've got one that's very creative and you know, there's no timetable. And you know, the things I do, there's always a timetable. Get it done and get it done well and in a given time. And you know, there's sort of a tornado, this child of clothes and paintings and creativity that just sort of, just get on the bus. Let's go. It's time to go.
I don't want to take a bus. I want to take a scooter.
Yes. Just, or I'll walk, you know, whatever. It just, and I'm not always ready for those conversations, and I'm not always patient during those conversations.
I like that child.
I like that child. What you're all saying is so great, and I can validate every single thing you've said because I hear it all the time. But what's very interesting and what I find is that when I meet these children, if I get the opportunity to meet these children in my office, you know what they are? They're delightful. They're funny. They're interesting, right? They're lovely. And what I think is that, truth be told, it's what we're expecting of our children. And when they don't react or respond in a certain way, we all of a sudden think it's a them problem. Just think about that for a minute. Because what I want to talk about right now is expectations. But I don't want to talk about expectations of the children we're thinking about. I want to talk about expectations of you. I want to talk about your parents' expectation of you. Clay, what were your parents' expectations of you, and how'd they make you feel?
I had wonderful parents, have wonderful parents. My mom's she was a big fan of mine, so still is. I turned 35 and she was like, you're ready to be president. You were ready earlier, but now you can legally.
But now you're legally ready.
I mean,
right?
she expects me to succeed, which was wonderful. I mean, it's like what it was, Bette Midler's song. Yeah, it was wonderful. Yeah, it really was.
What made it wonderful? How did it land wonderful instead of stressful?
Yeah, it breeded confidence. It gave me the sense of I can do anything.
Awesome.
I can accomplish things. I have a dad who, terrific father. He comes from a family of a lot of military people and a lot of coaches.
Okay.
And so every man in the family is just authoritative. And so that expectation was on me as well, just to be a leader.
Okay.
But to be a particular kind of leader.
Okay.
The outspoken, deep conviction, that kind of person and leader.
And how did that make you feel?
That one was probably harder because that's not really my style.
Okay.
And so I went to college doing Navy ROTC, and I lasted a week. So that I tried so hard to do it, but you couldn't talk the whole week.
Oh my God!
Exactly. And I was like, well, this is miserable. I mean, I'm happy to make the bed, but I'd rather let's sit down and
chat about
let's talk about what's going on. Yeah. So that one just became an expectation that I just didn't. It just wasn't for me. It was like trying on clothes that didn't fit.
Mm-hmm. And it didn't feel right, but how did it make you feel with the connection with your dad and the authoritative people in your life? Like, did all of a sudden, did that cause a blip or an obstacle or a speed bump? Like, what was that feeling like?
There were moments where it felt like I was not meeting your expectations, or I'm letting you down. That's probably
there you go.
Yeah, that's the phrase that I felt a lot. But he did a really good job, still does a really good job of saying, hey, look, I had a real defining, profound moment when I was telling my parents what I was going to do with my life.
Okay.
And I felt like in that moment, this is not what you want me to do with my life. And the next day, after a bunch of tears from me happened, the next day he told me, that's not what I would do if I were you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
But you've got to do what you feel like you need to do. And whatever you decide to do, we will support you in it.
That is great.
I felt like it was very healthy. It was really freeing because I felt like, okay, thank you for saying that's not what I would do if I were you. I knew that. Yeah. So that's
but at that moment, there was probably a little bit of a
yeah, for sure. Until he said, that's right. But if that's what you want to do, we will support you and we'll help you figure it out. So in general, it was great. But the sense of I've let you down.
Yeah. And would he approve of you, if you made that decision?
Right.
But gosh darn, you stayed there a week. Give you credit. I give you credit. That's 7 days longer than I would have stayed. Definitely. Rachel, tell me a little bit about what did your parents expect from you and how did that make you feel?
My dad was kind of a larger-than-life entrepreneur. He always was a visionary and loved people and loved to have fun and talk and never met a stranger. And he, when you say that, I think about when I was a teenager, he would set up businesses for me. He really wanted me to be an entrepreneur. So there was a vending machine business. There was a cookie sales business. There was all kinds of opportunities to get out there and sell and do what he loved to do. And he saw potential in me. Those were exciting, but sometimes it was overwhelming because I didn't necessarily have the confidence to step into the vision that he had.
Okay.
I did some of them. Some of them more successfully.
You did do some of them?
Well, all of them that he set up, I did.
And why? Because he made you feel like you had to?
Because he believed in me, honestly. There was a lot of positive there. The negative, I think, would only be that I didn't feel confident stepping into it often myself. I just needed more assurance, especially in that season of life. Knowing that I could do something that I didn't feel like I was equipped to do then.
Once you were doing it, how it made you feel changed? Kind of like after Clay's dad said, you know, it's not what I would do, but, you know, once you were out there selling cookies?
I was surprised by what I could do, I think.
Okay.
And stepped into it and enjoyed it as long as there were people with me and, you know, maybe he was with me. I think I loved to do it because he was with me. He passed away when I was 18.
Okay.
And so those memories are really some of my most fond, that he, you know, stepped into that and believed in what I could do even at a really young age when, you know, I was barely driving around doing some of those crazy businesses, so.
Well, and we know the power of words. And I believe one of the best things anybody can say to a child is, I believe in you. Almost sometimes over, I love you, is I believe in you, right? Because a lot of times they know you love them, but they're not sure that you believe in them, right? April?
Wow. It's funny when you ask the question, I kind of asked myself, were these expectations my parents put on me, or was it just how I perceived what was going on? You know, it just made me think of that.
No, that's
but
a good
I
spin.
felt like the expectation was perfection.
Okay.
And I remember one time sitting at the table and I accidentally knocked over my milk. And I remember Daddy would he'd trip out. Like, you'd have to get up and you have to clean it. And I just remember feeling so bad. Now, again, I don't know if this is how he made me feel, but this is how I felt. But you knew, like, we had how the table was supposed to be set and how you're supposed to sit. You're not supposed to use your finger to scoop the food. Like, none of that. There was a way that stuff was supposed to be done. And then it was a very faith-based home. My dad was a pastor. So there's an expectation of, well, you're the pastor's daughter. There's a way you're supposed to live. There's a way you're supposed to act. Everybody's looking at you.
You said at first you were wired for perfection. So when you spilled the milk, you probably felt like failure. But all these other things, how did that consistently make you feel?
Pressure.
Pressure?
Yeah, I mean, just I had to do things right. And when it wasn't done right, you have failed. And so it was I would beat myself up about the things that I didn't get right, about not making the best grade, or, you know, I wanted to be pleasing to people. So, you know, it was a lot of expectation that like I said, perhaps they put on me or was placed on me, but I took it on.
Yeah.
I took all of it.
Yeah. With no pushback. Fascinating.
No.
Brent?
You know, I love my parents, and it felt a bit storybook childhood, you know, a lot of fun, but with 4 boys, somebody always needed
3
their
brothers?
heads cracked. Yeah.
Where are you? What number are you?
3rd, so I was the rebel. You know, my parents, they approached parenting very differently. My mom was a teacher. I actually had her for 2 high school classes. Everybody loved her. I couldn't figure out, do I call her mom? Do I call her Miss Burke? But she drew out greatness in you and was very inspiring and hard worker. My dad, very broken childhood. He had to grow up really quick. So the disciplinarian came out very strong on 4 boys. I do remember he was always my coach. You know, I can see him in a suit, taking off his tie and rolling up his sleeves and, you know, come on, son, you got this. So the expectations were excellence at what you do, whether it was school, whether it was athletics, and discipline, strong discipline was part of it. You know, he wanted us to look like a Norman Rockwell painting. You know, everybody's fine at dinner, but children are to be seen and not heard was something I heard always as a child. You know, I know he loved me, but sometimes I felt the belt came before the discussion. And I wish that wasn't always that way. But, you know, the temper was always there. You know, you had to work hard. So just there were high expectations.
That's interesting. How did that land with you, the being seen and not heard? How did that?
Not well at all, because that just was not who I am at all. I mean, I always had a voice. I wanted to be heard, whether it was to be the comedian or the spotlight, show me the spotlight, and I wanted to be right in the middle of it. And that did not play well with my dad. You have a role, you have a line, and stick to it. Don't go off script.
So we're gonna, since we're on the journey of this and our mind's fresh on this idea of expectations, I want to switch it now, and I want to ask you, what do you expect from the children around you? Okay, Rachel, what do you expect from your students?
With my students, I think I want them to learn when they show up. I want them to be engaged with the material. I know it might not be their favorite class that they look forward to, but I want them to pay attention and take my lead and be engaged with curious about the material.
So you expect that same thing from how many children are in your class?
It's about 15.
Okay. So that expectation.
I mean, that would be awesome.
Wouldn't it?
It's like, is that wrong to expect that?
Weird to have that.
I'm just asking if you think it's the same. Like, Brent's dad with the 4 boys, the same expectation.
Yeah, I know that it's all going to land differently with them, and they're all coming to it with their own expectations. But yeah, I'd love that for each of them.
That would be awesome.
I mean, that would be nice. It rarely happens, but that would be great.
So it does rarely happen.
Well, I feel like it's right now the class is at the end of the day, so they're coming in there, having been filled up already, which I think makes it challenging sometimes. And they are often curious and excited about what we're talking about, but there's a lot of excitement in what they want to talk about, and I would really love for them to take my lead and, and they do some. But listen to the instructions and take what I'm saying, and we can run
with
there.
it.
Yeah.
Right. Brent, I want to ask you about your kids and maybe the kids you coach, because you mentioned you coach. What do you expect from them?
Their absolute best, whatever that may be. And to fight the battle, I really have expectations that they just don't phone it in. They are engaged.
And the same expectations for your own kids?
Very much so. Very much so. If you made a mistake, don't make it again. Get better. Get better. My kids would tell you, I tell them all, fail forward. It's okay if you fail, but get up and keep going. Keep going. Take new ground. And
my guess is the kid that doesn't want to get on the bus, not that interested in that.
He's gotten there. But it's interesting is I've had to really learn what he brings to the fight. And it's something different than what I have. He is a heck of a negotiator. Like, I would go to the fight instead of the negotiation.
Wow.
And he's got wisdom where I'm just, power would overcome that.
Wow.
So I've had to learn a lot.
And I love that it's coming out right now and you're sharing it with us. That's going to be great. A lot of aha moments, I have a feeling. So since you spoke, tell me about what you expect from those 5 kids.
I feel like my whole life I've been trying to win an election, trying to be most popular. And I expect them to do the things that will get you there.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, what does that?
Well, it means look somebody in the eye and say their name and win them over. And learn how to be appropriately social and succeed in what you do so that you can
win the election.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that people will like you.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's right.
And what are you finding so far with some of those expectations with some of those kids?
They don't care about it. They don't, which
You're
baffles.
baffled and
right.
perplexed
I'm like,
at that.
what in the world? Do you not know how fun this could be? But
exactly.
You seem not interested at all in
not
this.
even coming downstairs and talking to me about it.
You haven't even talked to her and said hello at the very least.
Yes.
Do that. That's right.
That is.
So yeah, it blows my mind.
And that is so funny. I let you think about it for a while. I would love to hear what you expect from your own boys, but it's also these middle schoolers. Tell me a little bit about when they come to you. I am assuming they're coming to you in an office setting. Okay.
Or I go to the community.
Oh, okay.
So I would do that as well. But in either setting, I guess I have to be honest, don't I?
Please. Please. But I'll know it.
I expect them to, if I just said it bluntly, for them to know that I'm trying to help them, and it would behoove them
Yes.
to do what I'm telling them, to follow this process.
Yes.
To do the right thing.
Yes.
To help, I would expect them to want to do the right thing, honestly.
If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right.
It's right. If I'm telling you, this path would really, it's not working for you, what you're doing, so what about this path? And, when it comes to counseling, it's a lot of, application. Like, so how can we put this into practice? What can we do for the next week? So when you come back, I'm expecting that work was done.
Yes.
And often it's not.
Yeah. I experience that sometimes.
Yeah. But I think, when you're, comparing the two between the kids that I see and the young adult children that I have, I think I give the kids a little more grace sometimes than I feel like I give my own kids.
Interesting.
Because I do expect them. I still like
Even
expect them to do stuff the right way.
Yes.
Because there is a right way.
Absolutely.
There's a right way that things should be done. And with my boys, it's not my right way. And I'm realizing that their right way isn't my right way. And so I'm having to let go of my right way.
Yeah. And what I love about that is it sets us up perfectly for a really key important point that we're going to talk about during this journey. And that is that one approach doesn't fit all, right? And when we were talking about one approach in teaching, counseling, parenting, loving a child, one approach will not fit all. It does not fit all. So I want to take us back, and I really want you to think about this for a minute. I want to take us back to the beginning when we started to talk about the issues and challenges you mentioned, about the child you were thinking about. But this is really important. I don't want you to focus on the child. I want you to focus on your response. Okay, so let me talk to Clay. You said one of your daughters is very strong-willed, right? When she behaves that way, how do you respond?
Not well. I remember her. I mean, she was our first she is our first child too.
Okay.
And so, gosh, my wife and I just look back on those early years thinking we had no idea. I mean, we don't know what we're doing now. We certainly did not know what we were doing then, but she was 4 and she wouldn't eat her green beans. And, it was just like the classic, you're not getting up from the table until you eat them. And then there is nothing you could say or do. She was not eating them.
Yeah.
And I felt like, okay, well, she powered up, I got to power up. Even though that's not for me, I'm right-handed, so that powering up is like using my left hand, but I can if I have to.
Right.
And
or
so,
you thought it was right.
I thought it was the approach. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, then you're just going to sit there all night. And I remember, I had this one moment when she was probably in kindergarten, and I think the exhaustion of going to school all day, as I look back, well, now that we've had other kids go through kindergarten, you learn, oh, this behavior is because you're now going to school all day and you're exhausted. But it was, there was a couple of months where it was every other night she was just losing it. I mean, she would do the whole defiant thing and then just completely fall apart. And I remember coming to bed one night and just feeling so defeated. I mean, I walked upstairs and started talking to my wife, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I am in over my head, and I am outmatched, and I need a new game plan.
So basically what I hear you saying is the powering up wasn't working for you.
No, did not work.
Did not work.
And I didn't even like it in myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like I was Brent's dad. And I'm like, that's not me. That's not who I am.
Yeah. So it felt uncomfortable even.
It did. It didn't. And it didn't work. And I didn't like it.
Yeah.
So the question would be, well, then why did you keep doing it? I don't know. I didn't know another way.
I wasn't even going to ask that question yet, but it's coming up. Rachel, tell me about, you talked about some of those kids in your classroom, right? What was your response?
I think I kind of lean two ways. Like you said, doing things that probably don't feel great when they come out, but either just backing down and quieting down until they are like, where's the teacher? Where's the person in charge? I do that at home too. Like I'll just stand there, wait, because I've got nothing else to do. And I don't often want to like jump in, and powering up just isn't something that feels super comfortable to me at all, or maybe even that I know how to do well. But if it goes beyond a point, I can get to a place where I just shut it all down. Those moments I hate the most. Like I never want to do that.
When you get pushed into a corner?
Pushed into a corner, backed into a corner. And
Because sometimes what I hear you saying is if you're quiet and you're waiting, that's not working for you.
No, it doesn't. Especially in the classroom.
In the classroom.
There's this at the front of the classroom. Another teacher that teaches in that same class has these levels of volume. She has a 0, which is no voices, and a 1. And I'll stand there and put my hand next to the 0, just kind of waiting because I figure it might work itself out in the classroom. It makes it sound like it's never under control, but it is. I think when I get ahead of them and have a plan, and like I said, I teach at the end of the day, so sometimes that's the point where it's just they're all done, and I've got something that I have in mind that I want to share. So neither of those work very well. Like you probably shouldn't go either direction.
So Rachel, tell me about your daughter that you talked about having fun. And it just never seems like enough fun. So I love the idea of the Disney story. Tell me a little bit more about that.
She's always seeking entertainment and excitement in her day. At night, she'll ask me, what are we doing tomorrow that's fun? And sometimes I'm like, nothing, you're going to school.
I so get her.
She would probably win class president. Popularity contest. I think a lot of times I try and give her something that I think is fun. It doesn't always land right. Or sometimes when we leave Disney and she says, what are we doing that's fun today? Like, that was it. That's all. That's all I've got today. And sometimes I tell her, you're going to have to make the rest of the fun for the day, kind of put it back on her. If she continues to push and push and push, I can get frustrated. I can feel defeated in that, feeling like what I've offered or what we've done isn't enough.
Sorry, do you ever accuse her of not being grateful for what you've already done?
Yeah, I don't usually say that, but I feel that. I feel like I've done so much for you. I've tried so hard, and you're not, accepting what I've put out there.
But you do not verbalize it.
Not usually.
No.
Not usually. I mean, occasionally, if it's just over and over and over, she can be a little unrelenting at times. And that gets overwhelming. Sometimes I can get frustrated and angry and kind of lash out. That would be certainly something I would say.
When you're in the corner again.
If I'm in the corner, yeah.
You lash out?
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah. Not often, but when it happens, it can be explosive. And that's when I would say, you're just never grateful for what I'm doing. So
that's fascinating. So, April, tell me a little bit about you and how you respond to the relentless, difficult son.
I give up.
Really?
I do. I'll go for a little while because I don't want to feel like a punk. But I'll second guess myself. Like, is what I'm saying really wrong? Like, do I not know what I'm talking about? So I'll start doubting myself, and sometimes I'll just be like, you know what? Okay, I'm that's fine. And he's no, I'm good. And I become very introspective.
Okay, tell me about that.
I'll my husband says you're in your head too much. I really go and I'm just digging through and I'm replaying every single solitary moment of the conversation. He said this, I said that. Why would he say that? Did I say this wrong? Like, why? And then I'm wondering, well, how does he think about me now? What is he feeling about me? Like, even sometimes I'll find myself calling maybe the next day just to check in, just to kind of get a temp check on how's your tone of voice when I talk to you? Are you mad at like, just wanting to make sure we're good. And sometimes I'll send a text, we cool? Oh, yeah, we're cool. Like, and he probably doesn't even remember the conversation.
Yeah.
He probably it was like, well, Mom, I knew you were right the whole time. I like playing devil's advocate. Really? Seriously? You take me through all of that just to play devil's advocate?
The devil doesn't need an advocate.
I can't stand you right now. But yeah, so it makes me doubt myself, and so instead of right now, I guess at this particular stage, instead of letting it go that far, sometimes I'll just
You'll just walk away.
Yeah. And I'll have to ponder and rebuild myself internally from feeling like I was torn down.
Interesting. That is fascinating to me. Well, again, we're talking about how you respond. Brent, kids.
I've
Think
got
of the thing
two very distinct things that are hitting me right now.
Okay.
The kid my child that, we have challenge, he and I, conflict. I had an online journal that I kept, and I asked him to print it for me. So, he was very creative and put pictures on the front, and it was like 1,500 pages and printed it for me. Apparently, he was flipping through and saw one of the notes from 9 years ago, and he and I had an argument. I don't know what it was about, but I was confessing to my journal that I shamed him, and that I was very harsh on him, and that was tough.
Yeah.
And sometimes too, this was a week ago. My wife and I were having the pillow talk, and sometimes the pillow talk's not, you're not ready for it. And she said, you were really harsh on Caleb growing up, and my mom noticed it, and my dad noticed it, and I'm like, that moment you feel all the things that I saw with my dad that I said I'd never do, and it was there. It was right. It was black and white in my journal, and my wife is telling me something like that. So,
and you took that arrow.
Oof.
And it's hard to look at that response. That's why I'm asking you. I hear a lot that parents think, oh my gosh, is it too late? Did I hear this too late? My kids are adults, or this or that, or I have 5 kids now. We're hearing it now because we're supposed to hear it now. This is when you will receive it. Just like when Tracy felt safe enough to give that to you.
There's a lot of hope in that.
Yeah.
Brent, your stories got me all choked up.
See, I told you.
I know.
First session.
That's right. But there
Not
is
very fun, is it?
No.
Oh.
But there's so much hope in that. That is so amazing that it's not too late right now.
No, it is not too late at all, right?
Right.
So I want you to think for a second about the stories that we just shared. And I want you to think, if you kept saying and doing what you were doing, what do you think would happen in 5 years? Or 10 years? Or 20 years? What do you think's going to happen? What is that echo going to look like? So what we're going to be talking about in the next few sessions, though, is how to make sure we are using our words to build children up instead of tearing them down. This is not a discipline strategy. There's no charts, there's no graphs, there's no magic pixie dust. It is in the framework of communication that has the power to change every single conversation that you have with a child. If you learn this approach, I guarantee you it will change. Something's going to change.
Guarantee?
I guarantee you, Clay, that something's going to change. You know what? Discipline will be easier. Teamwork will be easier. Parenting will be easier. Teaching will be easier. Okay? I've seen it happen over and over and over again. So in the next session, we're going to discuss why the children in your life behave the way they do.